In the end, the truth was much quieter than our fear. There was no betrayal hiding in first class, only a misunderstanding that grew slowly because no one spoke at the right time. My daughter-in-law had been helping someone who truly needed support, and the timing made everything appear wrong from the outside. When my son finally chose to listen instead of assuming, the heavy tension between them began to soften. That week taught us something gentle but important. Trust is fragile, especially when silence fills the space where honest words should be. Families rarely break because of one mistake alone. They begin to drift apart when fear replaces conversation and when love stops asking questions with patience. We chose to sit together, to speak calmly, and to explain without defending ourselves. Forgiveness did not come all at once, but it came quietly, with understanding and time. In that peaceful moment, I realized something as a mother. Sometimes our role is not to judge or shield our children from every pain, but to help them face the truth with an open heart and the courage to listen. That night, nothing was said out loud. We sat together, but our thoughts stayed quiet. The silence between us felt heavier than any argument ever could. In that stillness, I realized something deeply human. Sometimes the hardest moments are not the ones filled with noise or anger. They are the moments we carry quietly inside us, waiting for the truth to find a gentle way out. And in that quiet, I understood that healing often begins not with words, but with the courage to finally let the truth speak when the time is right. The next morning, my son called me early. His voice sounded tired, like he had not slept at all. He did not greet me the way he usually did. He just asked, very quietly, "Mom, was she really with you yesterday?" I held the phone in my hand for a long moment. I looked around the house, at the chair where she had been sitting, at the cup she used for tea. Yes, she had been here, but suddenly the truth felt heavier than before. I told him she had come by for a while, that she helped me with a few small things around the house. I did not tell him everything, not because I wanted to lie, but because I felt something important was still missing from the story. My son sighed on the other end of the line. He said someone had sent him a photo, a picture of his wife, sitting in first class beside a man he did not recognize. He spoke calmly, but I could hear the hurt hiding in his voice. My chest tightened, because I knew what it felt like to doubt someone you love, and I also knew how quickly trust can begin to crack when silence takes over. I asked him to slow down, to take a breath, to not decide anything yet. Sometimes, I said softly, what we see is not the full truth. He did not answer right away, and in that pause, I realized something painful. This was no longer just about a photo. It was about fear, about distance, about too many things left unsaid for far too long. That evening, I sat alone by the window again. I watched the light fade outside and wondered how a single image could shake a family so deeply. And I prayed that the truth, whatever it was, would come out gently before more hearts were quietly hurt. Later that night, the phone rang again. This time, it was my daughter-in-law. Her voice was soft, almost careful, like she was afraid of saying the wrong thing. She asked if my son had called. I told her yes. There was a long pause between us. In that silence, I felt how heavy the situation had become. Finally, she spoke. "Mom, I think it's time you know everything." She told me about the trip, about the man in the photo. He was not a stranger, not in the way anyone might imagine. He was a family lawyer, helping her handle a private matter she had not yet shared. Something sensitive, something she wanted to explain in person, not through messages or rumors. She said she had sat in first class because the ticket was arranged at the last minute. There was no secret relationship, no hidden life, just poor timing and too much silence. As she spoke, I felt both relief and sadness. Relief that there was no betrayal. Sadness that fear could grow so easily between people who loved each other. "I should have told him sooner," she said quietly. I was scared he would misunderstand. I closed my eyes. I understood her fear. I had lived long enough to know how quickly love can feel fragile when trust is tested. Before we ended the call, I told her something simple. Truth feels heavy at first, I said, but it is lighter than carrying doubt. When the call ended, the house felt calm again. Not happy, not fully fixed, but calmer. And I knew the next step would be the hardest one. The moment when my son would have to listen, not with anger, not with assumptions, but with his heart. The next evening, my son came over. He did not rush inside. He stood at the door for a moment as if gathering courage. When he finally sat down, no one spoke right away. His wife looked at him, not with fear, but with honesty. She told him everything, slowly, clearly, about the trip, about the lawyer, about why she had waited to explain. My son listened, really listened. He did not interrupt. He did not raise his voice. I saw his shoulders relax as the truth slowly settled in. "I should have trusted you," he said quietly, "and I should have asked instead of assuming." Tears filled her eyes, but she stayed calm. "I should have spoken sooner," she replied softly. "I didn't want silence to hurt us." I watched them from the side, my hands folded in my lap. In that moment, I realized something important. Love does not need perfection, it needs patience. That night, we shared a simple meal together, nothing fancy, just warm food and slow conversation. The tension faded, replaced by something softer. As a mother, I learned a quiet lesson that day. Sometimes our role is not to fix everything, it is to create a safe space where truth can breathe. Families are fragile, but they are also strong. When we choose honesty over fear and listening over judgment, healing begins. And that is how our family found its way back. Not through anger, not through blame, but through calm words, open hearts, and the courage to trust again.